Hello, I'm Richard.
Radio Lewes.
And I'm Matt.
Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
On a particular theme. It could be 5 tunes that make us happy. It could be 5 tunes that make us sad. Or in the case of this week, it's 5 tunes that we don't think that the other person's heard, but we think that they'll love. So, we've had a bit of a preparation time for this particular podcast. And it's actually taken me quite a while to find 5 tunes that Matt doesn't know that I've got. So how you found this pretty easy, didn't you? Because I think you listen to a bit more music than I do.
Yeah, I think I did, actually, just because, I cheated a little bit and went for some relatively new stuff. And I know our tastes kind of not diverge. We don't talk about new music as much as we do the older stuff. I mean, there are a couple of classics in there, but I hope you like some of this stuff. I think there's a couple of surefire winners and there's a couple of head scratchers, I think.
So I think I've also gone for, I think rather than trying to find things that you'd never heard of the band or the artist, I've kind of gone for maybe 1 or 2 things from a familiar artist, but songs that I don't think you would have heard by them. So, yeah, anyway, it should be interesting. Well, so do you want to kick us off with your first tune that I've not heard?
The first tune that Richard has not heard. We should turn that into a jingle, maybe.
You know what? We should make our own jingles for this show.
We definitely should. We would be terrible at it.
Right, so that is your challenge for the next show, by the way, is to make a jingle.
Amazing. I will forget you said that and not do it.
And then I will do the jingle for the next one.
Okay, good. Right. Stay tuned.
You heard it here, folks. You've got witnesses. 700,000 witnesses.
Is that how many people you paid to listen to this? I didn't realize you had it.
No, my mum listens to it 700,000 times.
Yep, that sounds about right. So I'm going to go in a little easy to start with because I have chosen Slippery People by the Staple Singers. Now, why is this easy? Because it's a cover version of a Talking Heads tune. And if anybody's listened to any of the previous show we did, you will know that we are both Talking Heads fans. So this always surprised. I came across this a couple of years ago. A few years ago, I suddenly, for some reason, got into Northern Soul. I don't know why. It came out of nowhere. And I got into Northern Soul. And from outside of that, I sort of investigating other soul and funk stuff. And obviously, if you wander a little down that path, you've come across the Staple Singers because they released some amazing albums of real classic funk and soul stuff. In the 80s, they released, it was a single. They released a cover version of Slippery People by Talking Heads. Now, the Staple Singers by this point must have easily been in their 50s and 60s. They were not a young band. So it's really intrigued me. And I'd love to know the story of how they came across this particular song, which I think was a single, but not massive, by Talking Heads, sort of famous to us, new wave, avant-garde pop band. How did they come across this song and decide to do not just a cover version of it, but an incredibly brilliant, funky cover version of it, bringing it so it's recognizable as the original tune, but making it sound like the Staple Singers? It's just amazing. It's just amazing, fun tune that you just want to get up to and dance to and think, wow, this is weird. This shouldn't work, but it does.
So the thing about the Staple Singers is that I'd heard of them for a long, long time. But I'd always got them a bit confused with, I'd always assumed they were a folk band. And I think it's because I got them.
The name sounds like a folk.
It's the Spinners.
Okay.
So I was always thinking, I can't really be bothered to listen to them because that's just going to be folk. By the way, I'm prejudiced against folk. I'm sorry about that. But actually, I quite like some folk. I'll try and play something in a week or two. But so I've never really been into them. But again, I should probably say for the listeners that we have actually exchanged these tunes a couple of days ago to actually listen to before this show so that we can say something about them, each other's tunes. And I really like this. Yeah, it was very funky. It was cool. But as you say, it was very much recognizable as Slippery People. It was very much recognizable as that. But yeah, it's a good tune.
And extra fun fact, there is a Mavis Staples did a concert about 5 years ago, and she did this and covered it with Arcade Fire as the band.
Ooh,
which is definitely worth looking up. I think it might be on YouTube. It's very, very good.
Nice. Okay, well, here we go then. This is Slippery People by the Staple Singers.
And let's welcome a renowned group of singers who have been and still are stars of both the spiritual and the popular music world. This is their latest single on the Private Eye label entitled Slippery People, and they are the Staple Singers.
Nice. There you go. Good start. Good start. So I've got to think about what my first tune is, and I think I'm going to start with something quite chirpy. So it's a band that you know. It's Junior Senior, who were a band. I think sort of Norwegian band, but they're a sort of a very, very up pop band, almost a sort of slightly sort of arty pop band that also did, you know, quite. I think they were also from the dance music scene. And they were just amazing fun. So they did one LP and they had one massive hit from that, which was Move Your Feet, which incidentally had one of the best videos I've ever seen. And if you might want to check this out on, if you get a chance to Google it, but just, Junior Senior, Move Your Feet. And you have to wait till the end of the video for one of the very best bits in any video ever. It's all sort of made out of pixelated animations with a squirrel that goes bonkers. Anyway, it's very funny. And anyway, this was from their second LP. and no one bought it basically, apart from me. And subsequently, it actually got stopped. I think it was just taken out of circulation. So it's actually quite hard to get now. This second LP, and this is just one of the LP tracks from it. But it's a brilliant LP, and there were 12, 13 tracks of just amazing pop stuff and brilliant dance music. And it starts with a song called Hello, which introduces you to their new album, and then it sort of goes seamlessly into some other sort of kind of weird sort of European rap dance sort of thing. And it's not serious at all, but there are some brilliant songs, and this song is called Take My Time, and it's just great. It's just a great piece of pop music. And although they may be quite jokey, if you were to put this up against most other bits of pop music, it's a brilliant pop tune. So I present this to you because I think you love it, and I think you would love the LP because it's ace.
It's great. I loved it. I did love it. It's Junior Senior were one of those bands that, when Move Your Feet came out, it was a perfect nugget of the time. It was early noughties, I think. It was absolutely perfect. It was so incredibly catchy. That big horn riff throughout it. The video, as you said, which was just brilliant. You expected either they were going to just do one single and disappear, or they were going to be massive. And somehow they kind of slipped between the cracks and went halfway through. And on the strength of this song, they were just as good as they continued. They kept going, and they still had that kind of that really catchy pop sensibility to it, but with a bit of a twist to it. And yes, a bit of a sense of humor. It reminds me a little bit of, in a strange way, and it's nothing like this, but for some reason it reminded me of it, a band that I really like at the moment called Confidence Man. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're an Australian band, and they do sort of retro-ish kind of pop dance stuff. They sound a bit Primal Scream in places, but not. And everything's got a little bit of a sense of humor to it, but it's really immaculately produced and really made out of love. And it has the same that kind of sense of doing something for love but not taking it too seriously. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was fun.
Okay, cool. Well, this is Junior Senior, and Take Your Time. you go. Fantastic.
Good smile.
Okay, so we've got tune number 2. What is the second tune you want to play that I don't know but I might like? This is really catchy. It's a catchy name for a show, this, isn't it?
It was the second tune that I don't know but I might like.
That's you do know that I don't know, but you know that you don't know that I might. Anyway, should we carry on?
It's better than the tune I know you won't like. That's
the tune you don't know that you know I won't like.
Yes. That's episode 5 when we've fallen out.
It'll be a long series.
So the next one is relatively up to date. It's by a female rap artist called Little Sims, and it's called Offense. And I think this came through the magic of Spotify. Basically, you know how Spotify are very, very brilliant with their algorithms of saying, okay, you like this stuff, then you will like this. And invariably, you know, you do. There's a lot of stuff in there. And I had no idea. who this was. But it's really spiky British hip hop. But obviously it's a female rapper, not rapping about the things that female rappers usually rap about. Something which it's about her confidence, but also it's got a little bit of a cultural kind of sensibility to it. You know, it talks about her life. It's also really funny. There's some really funny lines in this tune, but it's got there's a live band in it somewhere wrapped up in a whole bunch of kind of really, really meaty hip hop kind of sounds. And some amazing left turns in the production halfway through, and it's only 3 minutes long. It's just, again, it's one of those tunes that comes on and you just kind of nod your head to it, and it's captivating. It's really cool. I'm
really glad you introduced me to Little Sims, because I'd heard of, is it her? Is it her? Well, yeah, I'd heard of her, you know, for a year or two, I think, and you know, and knew that it was kind of something that was quite well known and quite well regarded, but had never taken the time to listen to it. So it was good to hear something like this. And it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's interesting. I don't think it's something that I immediately went, that's exactly my thing. But it was good. And it was just good to hear someone doing something different, you know, so something slightly different, but with similar raw materials to what other people have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that was good. It always amazes me how, you know, new artists, you know, because I'm, you know, quite stuck in the mud old these days, and you sort of think, oh, it's all been done before. But actually, you know, again, same basic raw materials of what pop songs sound like, or, you know, modern songs sound like, and making something different. That is an amazing achievement to me.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a throwback as well. You can hear the heritage in it. There's a little bit of Public Enemy going on in there as well. So it's a really interesting mix of stuff. I think she's brilliant.
Okay, so here is Little Sims.
Me again, allow me to pick up where I left off. The biggest phenomenon, and I'm Picasso with the pen. Niggas always talk shit until I hit him with the realness. Figured I should say something, but you don't wanna hear me vent. You can talk bad all day long, I will never be impressed. Don't know what I did to make you feel that you be earning my respect. You do not scare me, no, you are not a threat. Anyone I wanted, they can get it in a flash, no sweat. If you're gonna talk on my name, please say it with your chest. Got my team on deck, taking out all pawns on my night, got your queen in check, mate. Don't get touchy, don't be getting nigga feelings. All I do is kill shit, even when I'm chillin'. I'm Jay-Z on a bad day, Shakespeare on my worst days. Never been a punk, trust you can get it in the worst way. Fuck it, let me get a birthday cake and it ain't even my birthday. Cause when I switch, then they wanna say that I'm a bitch.
You're not listening. I said it with my chest and I don't care who I offend.
Came through swinging at the gate on a mad one, no fucks. Step into the kid trying to bring it, I promise you'll have no luck. You sold out for a quick buzz, and honey, you got no love. No less than what I know that I'm worth, and I won't budge. In and out the doorways, jugging through the broad day. And any winning none of your way. I've been exhausted, man, I think I need a tour break. Might take a trip to the Philippines and my Spanish boy hold a hay. Hold on my blood like I'm back in town and I need an ounce, give me more flames. Take mom on the street, like get anything you want, this is your day. I follow the white rabbit, got a couple carrots, I know that I got bad habits. Trying to find a balance, I'm in the store like I wanna have it, I gotta have it. You are not the toughest or baddest, my pen is the maddest. I probably any careers and it's never right, I'm malice. Gas never lane, even on 10, and still they can't manage. They think I'm a shy one, like nah, Sims won't flip. But when I switch, then they wanna say that I'm a bitch.
I said it with my chest and I don't care who I offend. I said it with my chest and I don't care who I offend.
There you go. Top tune. Okay, so my second tune. Well, I was going to save this till the end, but I can't kind of wait to play it. So I'm going to have to do it. This is my second one, but this is Chic. It's like people who listen to my other show Tune will know that Chic is just my favorite band ever and my favorite songwriters ever. And this is one of their much lesser known tunes, or a tune that they wrote for a guy called Fonzie Thornton, who was one of the mainstay backing singers of Chic throughout the years. And he did a solo album, and I don't think it did particularly well, but there's some good stuff on it. But this is an unreleased song that was on a Chic box set. So this was a very expensive set of CDs from about 10 years ago that they did loads of unreleased stuff and stuff from the bin. And I don't know why they put this in the bin, because this song is absolutely brilliant. And there's something I love about it. It's called I'll Change My Game. And basically it's about him. He's been a naughty boy and he's telling his partner, look, love, I'm going to change my game, for you, because you're the one. I'm going to change my game. None of this naughty stuff. But the unusually for me, I love the lyrics in this one, because it feels like it's about sort of New York, and it's about, the nightlife of New York and the excitement of it, and, going out and just having an amazing sort of, high life there. And there's just something really, really that I love about the way that he talks about, his life. And I just think it's such a funky tune, even for, from the very, very start. It's got Nile Rodgers doing his thing with the guitar at the start. Yeah, I absolutely love this tune. So, yeah, and I thought it'd be good for you to hear it.
Never going to get tired of a bit of Chic. Always like to hear some new stuff from Mr. Nile Rodgers, even when it's old, and things I've not heard before. This I found really interesting because it is very typical Chic. It's got all the hallmarks. It's got the guitar. It kicks in with the main riff, like he did with all his tunes. But it's a bit different as well. I'd love to know whereabouts in the kind of Chic story this came, because there's just, even if it's a finished track or if it's a demo, because it's just things like it's got synths in it instead of horns, and that gives it a slightly different sound to a Chic track, which is plainly a Chic track. Also, why the hell didn't it go on the album? That's a very strange thing.
It's bonkers because it's such a complete track, and it's really catchy. And I think that the thing about the synths is that they actually did go through a stage on their last couple of albums. This is before they did their sort of reunion type one, a couple of years ago, where it all sounds a bit dated because they didn't use the proper instruments. They started using synths a lot more.
Right.
And that didn't sound so great. But I think this avoids that pitfall of sounding dated. I don't think it sounds dated. But,
no, not at all.
Because I don't think they used it too much. But yeah, there's one or two of their later albums where they do that, and it's yeah.
All right, starts to get a bit squeaky.
Yeah. Okay, well here you go. This is Fonzie Thornton featuring Chic, and I'll Change My Game.
I'll change down. We had so much fun. I'll never live it down. Big casino, roulette, blackjack, and keno. A moment locked in time. A vision in my mind. Someday, someday, I knew you'd go away. Someday, some other day, I knew you'd go away. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. Ooh, little girl blue, gonna be a little more true. Don't let the neon blind you. Don't leave my love behind you. I won't forget your love. No, the Lord just tears me up. Someday, someday, I knew you'd go away. Someday, some other day, I knew you'd go away. I'll change my game. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. I'll change my game. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. I'll change my game. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. All I want to do, I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. Oh yeah. Hey, I'll change. Hey, I'll change. Got change. Little girl blue, gonna be a little more true. Don't let the neon blind you. Don't leave my love behind you. I won't forget your love. No, the Lord just tears me up. Someday, someday, I knew you'd go away. Someday, some other day, I knew you'd go away. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. Hey, don't forget my love. Don't forget my love. Don't forget my love. Don't forget my love. I'll change my game to get right back with you. I'll change my game. To get right back with you. To get right back with you. To get right back with you. I'll change my game. To get right back with you. That's what I want to do. Is get right back with you. I'll change my game. So change, forget my love. Change, forget my love. No, to get right back with you. I'll change. I'll get my love. To get right back with you. I'll change my game.
There you go. That was Fonzie Thornton featuring Chic and I'll Change My Game.
It's a shame he didn't change his game and put it on the bloody album, isn't it? Really, what's the matter with you, Fonzie?
Fonzie, good name by the way.
It's a good name.
Good name, Fonzie. Third tune. What's your third?
Now then, what's going to be my third one? So, as a bit of a break, and I'm sure this one came to you as a bit of a surprise, actually. I'm going to play you Dexy's Midnight Runners. Because, again, going back to my sudden interest in Northern Soul, which has been quite all-encompassing for a little while now, one of my favourite Northern Soul tunes is Breaking Down the Walls of Heartache, which is a classic, and it turns up on all these, on the kind of compilations and, you know, that kind of thing. And this is a cover version of that very tune by Dexy's Midnight Runners, and it is a track that didn't make it onto Young Soul Rebels, but has been on the extended CD. And it's mad. It's mad. It's probably the happiest cover version of anything you've ever heard. It's like they've taken the song and they're playing it at about twice as fast as it is, in that typical Dexy style where everything sounds like it's going to fall apart at any given moment. But it's done with such passion and verve and just kind of guts that it's addictively danceable. It's the one tune that if I'm ever feeling down, I put this tune on these days, and it is guaranteed to make me happy again. It's just a brilliant cover version.
It is great, and I love Dexys. The impression I always had of Dexys, and this completely confirms it, is I got this picture of a very big old car, you know, a real sort of like a old Ford car, and then a load of people with dungarees and check shirts in it, herring down the road, stuff falling off the car, people playing instruments as this car kind of completely, and the bits falling off and flying back. That's what they remind me of, and this is a perfect illustration of that. And they're great, and this is sort of one of their classic LPs, isn't it? Really, the Young Soul Rebels, isn't it? One of the great.
It is.
LPs?
It's the one that I think it was their second album, so it came after all the big massive hits. But it's the one which is kind of has been rediscovered as a classic, and quite groundbreaking for what it was for the time. And I just came across it. I bought it. I can't remember why I bought it. I think I bought it in a record shop, and it was a second hand, and it was like £2.50. I bought it about 2 years ago, and I bought it because I'd heard it was a classic, and I thought, well, it's £2.50, I'm going to buy it. And it's a brilliant album from beginning to end. It's really worthwhile having, and it's worthwhile having on vinyl as well.
All right, let's do it then. Here's a bit of Dexys.
You had to
tune for me, and I'm going to go with something vaguely more by my standards anyway. And it's The Invisible, and this song is called So Well. So The Invisible are a band that I think are still in existence, and they've only had sort of 2 or 3 LPs out, and this is from their most recent one, which is called Patience. And I'd never heard of them at all until a couple of my dear friends Sarah and Charlie had recommended it to me, and they'd been to a gig in Bristol, and this band had played, and they said, oh, they were amazing live, so we bought the LP. And sometimes, well, it's quite rare when someone plays you a record, and you're in their living room, and instantly you think, oh my goodness, I've got to buy this. This like hits the spot. It's really rare that happens, but this one did from the first track. And as soon as I heard the first track, I thought, this is great, but I'm not going to buy it unless the second or third track are really good. And then the second track was amazing. The third one was, and I thought, right, okay, all right, just get me to the record shop quick. And the whole LP, Patience, is just brilliant. And this is one of the tracks from it. And there's something that I love about this, because it's using, I just get materials for pop and sort of soul music that I commonly use, synths and things like that. But there's a different sound to this. There's a kind of, it's quite a rich sound, and things sort of wash over you, particularly in this one with this sort of chords that come in on it. And it's just a beautiful sounding record. It just sounds really rich with loads of layers on it, and the tune is gorgeous, just like all the other tunes on the LP. So yeah, this is my favourite of the bunch that you shared with me, for all the reasons you just said. Really, I mean, it's kind of a new sound and an old sound in many ways. It's got a little bit of, I want to say Cocteau Twins in the sort of instrumentation and the production. But it's one of those sounds that's around at the moment, which I really like. It's kind of the big breathy layered vocals and big synths that build and build and build around a really nice tune. Reminds me of another band that's around as well called Hearts. And their first couple of singles were similar to this. They've got a kind of, it's almost like their melodies have almost got a Fleetwood Mac vibe to them, but the sound is more like this. And they're worth looking up as well. But I really like this. It just spoke to me straight away. It's the kind of thing that I just like, really. All right. Well, this is The Invisible, and So Well.
Tell me I'll never know.
Yeah, nice. Right then, Matt, what have you got for number 4?
So number 4 is one of these bands that I'm embarrassed to say I haven't discovered until recently, but lots and lots of other people have banged on about for a very long time. I kind of started listening to them because my mate Paul West, who is a graphic designer, you've met him. He's done record covers for Depeche Mode and Elbow and Cocktail Twins and whatnot.
He's the Uber designer.
He's a god. He's a god.
He's
amongst
done
men,
some of
and
my favorite LP. He's done Heaven or Las Vegas for the Cocktail Twins, for goodness sake.
He did Heaven or Las Vegas. He did 101 for Depeche Mode and a bunch of other Depeche Mode tracks. All of Elbow's record covers. Girls Aloud.
All right. Don't rub it in.
And when he recommends some music to you, it's time to say, okay, all right, I'm going to invest some time in this. And I'm glad I did, because it's Felt. And they are a band that is sort of, I mean, probably everybody who's listening to this probably knows them. I'm probably the only person who didn't know them. But contemporaries of the Smiths, a band that sort of were, as far as I know, was sort of the front man was a complete kind of perfectionist and obsessed with getting the sounds right. So it would take them years and years to create any album, which is why they didn't quite reach the heights they could have done, through too many gaps in between each album's release. But this is Primitive Painters, which is kind of their biggest song. I need to know more about them. I'm talking about them now, and I realize I really need to dig into them, because this song is just it's a little gem. I mean, it's a work of genius, really. It starts off in one direction, heads off in another direction. It takes all the usual things like guitars and drums and bass and whatever, and does something completely magical with them, and I love it.
Am I right in thinking that Felt is this guy Lawrence from Denim?
Yes.
Yeah, because Denim were absolutely, he was almost like deified back in the day. He was seen as like the savior of pop or alternative music, and he was quite a character. And it was one of those bands. I'm so glad that you brought this one along, because another friend of mine has been desperately trying to get me to listen to Denim and Felt over the years, and saying that you're going to love this. It's just awesome stuff. And again, I've never actually bothered to listen to it, but this is really brilliant. I absolutely loved it. And it's just the sort of stuff that I love. And it's really, and I love it when you get a situation like this, because I can go back through their whole back catalogue now, and it's just having this lovely new path to tread and find out more from something that you're going to love loads of the music that they've got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great when that happens, when you unearth a hidden gem that you can rediscover. And thank God that it's you I'm doing this with, because you remember things like the name of the singer, who happens to be quite well known, and I'm completely ignorant.
Oh, well, no, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. So here we go. This is Felt. Yeah, brilliant. So look, I've got a load more listening to do on Felt and Denim in the next few weeks, so I'm looking forward to hearing a bit more about them. So, fourth tune for me. So this one is actually, it's similar to the one that I played before from The Invisible. This is another one was recommended to me by my friends Sarah and Charlie.
You should get them on the show.
Yeah, they should have their own show. Frankly, they've got all the new tunes. To be honest, this is from Nick Mulvey, and Nick Mulvey is a former member of the band called Portico Quartet that I vaguely heard of before, but I haven't heard anything by them. But again, this was one where I was sitting in their living room having a glass of wine, and they put this on. I said, "Oh yeah, we love this new tune. Check this out." And it's just an absolutely beautiful song. There's bits of folk music in there. There's bits of world music in there, but just bits of kind of contemporary rock and acoustic music in there. But it's just a beautiful sounding thing, and his voice is really, really nice as well. And again, I think one of the interesting things about music is that I think it depends on the situation that you listen to it in as well. Because I always have such a lovely time around there, going around their house. I think perhaps some of the stuff that they play me, I have a really good impression of it, while I'm listening to it, if you see what I mean. You're instantly, 20% of the job of the music is already done for you by just being happy and in a good place. And that could be the same when you're in a record shop, in a place that you like, like Brighton. I've talked before about loving listening to, you hear a new piece of music in Brighton and you think, I've got to buy it. And I think, because we are influenced a bit by our surroundings on that sort of stuff. But once I bought the LP after coming back from their house and listening to it, it's just a great LP. And I just think this song is really, really beautiful.
Not heard of Nick Mulvey at all, so thank you for bringing him to my attention. I like this a lot as well. It's the kind of thing I tend to like. It's the sort of thing that you'll put on a Sunday afternoon and sort of sit and listen to. It had a bit of reminded me of Kings of Convenience a little bit. In some ways, I think probably because it's a little bit folky in its melody, but it's a bit more lush in its production. And obviously, I'm a big fan of horns. So when the horns come in, that's just the icing on the cake for me of this tune. I like this a lot.
So this is Nick Mulvey and Unconditional.
Unconditional, Venus by my side, uncontainable. Nowhere you can hide, it's something to know. No matter where you are, the Venus light is shining in your star. And it's back in my heart again, saying that you do indivisible. Loving inside you, it's nothing to know. And knowing that you are, the Venus light is shining in your star. Oh, come on, it was right here all along. What you're looking for is never gone. How did we do this? We're here. Pull me close and hold me near. Yeah. Unconditional. Yeah. Unconditional. Yeah. Uncontrollable. How could I resist underneath it all? The way that you undress, irreplaceable. The mark upon your lip, the Venus light is shining in your kiss. Oh, come on, it was right here all along. What you're missing is never gone. How did we do
Nice tune. As you say, nice Sunday afternoon listening.
Yeah, and that sounds like it's downplaying it a bit, but you can't underestimate nice Sunday afternoon listening, really.
Definitely not, especially if that listening involves cake as well.
True. Yes.
Clearly. there are some bits of music that you shouldn't listen to with cake. That is one that deserves a nice piece of cake with it. Others, I wouldn't listen to The Prodigy, for example, with a piece of cake. It would seem inappropriate.
No, I'm trying to imagine that now, and no, it wouldn't. It just wouldn't work, would it? What would you listen to the band Cake whilst eating cake?
I don't know cake well enough.
No,
I mean, I know cake, but I don't know cake.
Not cake. Yeah.
Here we go. We're going to another wormhole. I can feel.
I like cake, but I'm not a big fan of cake. That's the problem.
Anyway, moving on. We're on the last tune. What have you got to offer us? What's tune number 5?
Surefire winner. As soon as we set each other this challenge, I knew this tune was going to be in there. It's got everything you like. It's a bit French. Well, it's very French. It's got big synths. It's got minor key, kind of slightly melancholy melody to it. And it's got breathy Charlotte Gainsbourg vocals. I could go on about Charlotte Gainsbourg and my obsession with her for many, many reasons, but I won't because it's not that kind of show. But this is off her third album, which was a kind of her first sort of foray into big dancey tunes. But it's kind of big dancey tunes in that French way. So big and lush and romantic. And it's the final track on the album, Les Oxalis. And it's a joy. It's a big, lush, French, sexy, romantic, synthy joy.
Well, you judged it right. This one did it for me. Of all the ones that you sent me, this one did it for me straight away. And yeah, it's just ace. And so it made me just go straight to Spotify and play the rest of the LP, which is ace. I mean, my goodness, it's absolutely brilliant. So it's produced by this French producer called Sébastien, and he's a sort of dancey sort of producer. It's just awesome. I mean, like, exactly for all the reasons that you've said, it's great, and the tune is brilliant. But it's also, there's something I love about music which just like surprises you a little bit, and you think, that I've not heard that before, or that idea before, that way of doing things. And it's just awesome. I can't say much more about it, but just listen to it. And I've already had to buy the LP on the strength of this. So, hey.
Good. And the first collaboration she did with Sebastian was an amazing cover version of Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix, which is also worth listening to. So, little side note.
Whoa. Well, here we go then. This is Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Clairs de lune.
undercover, going sober by the night.
Ace. And yeah, you should check out the LP. I think the LP is called Rust, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, yeah. Brilliant stuff. Thanks for that.
I'm so glad we're sober. I'm so prepared for this show every week.
You see, it was worth us doing this because it was for me anyway, because I've got at least a couple of tunes from you that I would never known before.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Good. So my final one again is from a band that you know, but I know from in the past that you've said that you've not really listened to much of. So I thought, well, I'm going to give you one of their tracks to have a go at, and it's Scrittability, and the track is Hypnotize. So Hypnotize is kind of one of their classic tracks. Basically, it's one of the ones that that fans really love, and it's from their one of their earlier or mid LPs, Cupid and Psych 85, which is just an ace LP, and it's when they really started using just these very precisely and cleanly programmed synthesizers and sequencers, and it just sounds amazing. I think the thing about this particular song, Hypnotize, is that at the start you start to think, well, this sounds a little bit dated, it sounds very 80s, but actually after about a minute or so of it, you forget that it's sounds dated, a little bit dated, because it's such a brilliant song, and it just changes quite a lot as it goes through, and I just think it's such a likable song. And I've played it so many times, and it never sort of ceases to surprise me where it sort of goes off in different directions, and it's just an adorable record. And I think Scrittability are just a really underrated band. And yeah, this LP is just fantastic. And the funny thing about them is that Green Gartside, the singer and basically who Scrittability is, he has this incredible sort of way of singing, which is very, very high pitched and very sort of sweet and honey like, kind of melodic honey-like singing. And that actually, when he speaks normally, it's quite deep. He's got a really deep voice, so it's kind of a bizarre thing. And you don't quite know where he got that particular style of singing from. But anyway, it works, and it works with the music so brilliantly.
It's funny this again, another band that you've talked about quite a bit, and another band that lots of people I know really like, and I've seen them live a lot, and said they're amazing. And to me, they were just sort of kind of 80s pop. They were kind of, the Word Girl, which is off the same album. I knew that and I liked it, but I thought, okay, it's just, it's kind of pop music. But this was quite different, actually. It struck me, it's quite broken in places, which is that, despite the fact that you're talking about sort of precisely programmed synths, which they are, but they're precisely programmed to break and fall apart at various points, which is I found really interesting and quite unexpected. It does It does sound 80s to me, but that is not a problem to me because it sounds like it's come out of a John Hughes movie, but a John Hughes movie gone slightly wrong. So it sounds like it could be in The Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or one of those kind of things, which are, despite the fact they're very 80s movies, they're timeless in their own way. And I think this is as well. It kind of works that way. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I will definitely listen to the rest of that album.
I think that LP is like the go-to LP for them, and followed by the next one, which is Provision. But I think, this LP is it's great stuff. Okay, well, we will leave you with this today. Thanks for listening. And next week, I'm not going to tell you what the theme is because I don't think we've actually decided yet. But anyway, we will have a theme, and it will be 5 tunes each. So join us for that next week. Here's Scritti Politti.
Radio Lewes. Local community webcasting.